What are we supposed to do? I see this comment when I look in social media all the time. Like, all this crazy stuff is going on, and how can we react? How can we do something about it? And one of the core principles here is that it always starts inside of us. If we try to go out and change all of this stuff outside, it can seem too big, too insurmountable, impossible. We're just one person. What can we possibly do? But all great changes and revolutions have actually started from the inside out, not from the outside in. And there's a short clip from Heather Cox Richardson and Joanne Freeman that really illustrates one of the traps that we so often fall into when we want to create change. So let me play that.
No, that's totally right. And your point, your larger point is so often we're being reactive, right? So often we're reacting to those acts rather than stepping forward and defining what's right and defining ourselves. And, you know, it's easy, I realize it's easy for us to say this, but everything that we see is so reactive to the extreme actions that these people are taking.
So that's really the point. So much of what we do in this current world is reactive. But it's not just during this current moment that we're having of a lot of crazy stuff, a lot of change, a lot of, for many of us, upsetting stuff happening. It's that many of us have been reactive for so long. I think it's been a fundamental flaw in the way we've been thinking about things. Many of us, especially those of us who have gone through educational training, who've been involved in higher education, as I have, we get trained to think about things as objective, that there's this objective reality out there. Although I also agree with Einstein that it's ultimately an illusion. It's just a very persistent one. So we treat it as if it's real, this objective reality. In doing that, we lose track of the subjective experience and how important that is in defining our relationship with this objective reality. So you can look out there and say, all of this stuff is happening, and what can I do? And we're looking for actions rather than looking for subjective shifts in our own state of mind and state of being. And sometimes we happen upon those accidentally, but the whole point here is we can choose those intentionally. And what Joanne is pointing to is that there's this reactivity that most of us fall into where it's just like, okay, that thing's happened. And so now I have to do something, I guess, to try to stop that thing from happening. And implicit in that is also this idea that there's a linear continuity throughout time, and somehow this linear continuity of things is being broken in the present moment, and we've just got to get it back on track. But that's not true. History goes through cycles of destruction, rebirth, blah, 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 blah. And this is just another element in that cycle. But what is it that defines how those cycles proceed? And it's always that inner subjective energy and emotion that we bring to things. The energy, the emotion, and the vision. So, one of the key things, if we want to get out of this idea of reactivity to what's going on and start building forward towards something new and better, whether it's in our personal lives and you ignore all of the crazy going on out there, or whether you actually want to make change out there. It starts with acts of imagination. Imagination is so underappreciated. We love imagination when it comes to going to movies or video games or whatever. Like, people love imagination when it's not, quote, real life. But then there's this weird divide, like when it comes to real life, where we're supposed to turn off all that imagination and now just like get serious. But no, like, the greatest changes come from proactive acts of imagination, where we imagine and creatively think about, how could this be better? What could be done better? What could be done differently? How do I want things to be? Because we're not going to go back. They're not going to go back. But we have the chance to say, rather than just reacting, what do we want? What do we want to stand for? How do we stand up? And that is a true inner way forward, because if we show up in any conversation, if we show up in any situation with that subjective, clear power, fueled by our imagination, fueled by our vision, fueled by a positive picture of what we want, we show up in so much more of a strong and clear way than if we just react. If we're just like, oh, those people did that or that happened, I don't know what I'm supposed to do about it. So it starts with this seed. It starts with being proactive, imagining, and creating a vision. And that's something that we can all do. And it's going to help us all get out of the mess we're in. And so if you want more, I would love for you to hit that like, subscribe button, and let's get this to 1,000 people. Let's get this show really started. I'm here. I'm ready to build a community around this idea that change for us individually, but also for this crazy world we're in, it starts from the inside out. It's not about going out and fighting against, it's about creating that powerful, clear vision from inside and bringing that into the world. I'll talk to you soon.